It's the end of an era. FIFA and Electronic Arts are splitting ways for good. What does that mean for the future of soccer in video games? In today's video, we're going to answer this question by taking a deep dive into the world of video game sports. We've also got news about EA being up for sale, WWE's new expansion, and more. Let's get into it. First up, the end of an era. After about 25 years of exhibition matches, goals, and celebrations, and more than a few controllers thrown against walls, Electronic Arts and FIFA are calling it quits on their multi-million-dollar partnership. They've been making FIFA games together for generations, so what changed? According to reports, FIFA offered EA a super expensive new contract to continue working with the FIFA license, and EA took one look at that and bailed. This new contract apparently added somewhere around $300 million to the licensing fees FIFA wanted. Yikes! EA also wasn't allowed to use the FIFA name in other projects like tournaments and NFT lines, mostly because FIFA wants these rights for itself. On top of all of that, things were already tense between the two companies due to the reports of widespread corruption in FIFA's management, which EA obviously didn't want anything to do with. The expensive new deal was just the last nail in the coffin for EA's FIFA series. Honestly, this news was a long time coming. Ever since the start of their relationship in 1993, the FIFA soccer series has become a household name thanks to the brilliant developers at EA and the super marketable FIFA brand. These games top the charts year in, year out, but the partnership has definitely changed over the years. Not a lot of people know this, but all the soccer team licenses and branding in the FIFA games, we're talking the rights to the names and the likenesses of players, clubs, and leagues, aren't actually part of the EA-FIFA deal. Those are thanks to EA's deals with individual leagues and soccer teams. So what happened was that EA finally saw how the only thing that FIFA was offering was the name, so they decided that they didn't need it anymore. But how's that going to affect the games themselves? Next, the FIFA series is about to get a name change. When you hear the word FIFA, the first thing you probably think of is the video game series. Well, you might have to rewire your brain soon, because in a year or so, EA won't be releasing FIFA games anymore. Nope. Now, video game soccer fans around the world will be playing the title called EA Sports FC. That's a pretty big change that fans will definitely take a while to get used to. Thankfully for fans though, EA's promising that'll be the only thing they're redoing. The base game is supposed to stay the same with the classic FIFA feel intact. Phew! EA's also been assuring fans that they're only going to ramp up the licensing efforts and expand the reach of its portfolio after the split. That means hundreds of new license partners on top of the licenses EA already has. For instance, the UEFA Champions League and the Premier League. Simply put, it'll make EA Sports FC the same authentic soccer experience, just without the FIFA name tag. So don't worry, you'll still be able to play as your favorite team in EA's games. Now, you might be wondering when all these changes come into effect. That's where FIFA 23 comes in, which is set to be the last EA video game in history in the legendary soccer series. Both EA and FIFA are promising big things for FIFA 23, saying it'll be the greatest soccer experience ever produced. We'll just have to hope it's a fitting swan song for the series, worthy of being called the last EA FIFA title. But while EA's already announced its plans for the future, FIFA's looking around for a new partner for itself, and now FIFA looking for new partners. Since it no longer has EA's support, the heads of FIFA have started meeting with other studios and publishers to develop soccer games for it. That'll include both simulation and non-simulation games. FIFA's president, Gianni Infantino, has emphasized that the FIFA name is going to remain a constant for these new games whenever they arrive. Obviously, FIFA are hoping people recognize their brand, but to keep that going, they're going to have to make an authentic soccer video game without the help of EA. Finding a partner who can do that is definitely not going to be easy. If you're a fan of sports-focused video games, you'll definitely have heard of the studio called 2K Games. They're the team behind the massive sport game series like NBA 2K and WWE 2K. Rumor has it that they've approached FIFA for the license, and we personally can't think of a better candidate for taking over the reins to the FIFA series. Strauss Zelnick, the head honcho of 2K, has even hinted in interviews that such a move would be a big step forward for the company as a whole. But he also said they weren't ready to announce anything just yet. Well, that's enough to get us excited. Up next, a new landscape for virtual soccer. One thing we can be sure of is there's definitely going to be a new soccer simulation game for players in the coming years. With the new FIFA game, EA Sports FC, and the eFootball series all going up against each other, the competition for virtual soccer supremacy is going to be tougher than it's ever been. That's good news for soccer fans, because 3 titles on the market is just more options, and that's never a bad thing. It might even be a good thing for EA to get a little competition. Konami's PES and eFootball games have never been able to give EA a run for its money. Combined, these 3 games are going to push the quality of virtual soccer to all new levels of awesome. It'll be interesting to see how current FIFA players react when both the new EA Sports FC and FIFA games come out together. together. Will EA Sports remain the king of soccer video games, or will FIFA look to overthrow its former collaborator? Only time will tell. Time for some other news, starting with WWE's new DLC packs some familiar faces. You're not going to believe some of the awesome new fighters coming to WWE 2K22. Developer 2K just announced their expansion plans for their latest wrestling game, and this announcement has got us super hyped. The DLC is going to be released throughout the summer in the form of 5 packs, 2 of which have already been released. Judging from what we've seen so far, they look like they're offering a lot of bang for your buck. Each of these packs is adding crazy new characters to the game's already packed roster, including the hottest celebrities and wrestling legends on the planet. The packs include stars like Ronda Rousey, A-Kid, and Mr. T. But guess who else is joining in on the mayhem? Rapper Machine Gun Kelly and YouTube's Logan Paul. That's who. So if you've ever wanted to play as MGK in the ring or put Logan Paul up against The Undertaker, WWE 2K22 is about to make your dreams come true. Personally, we're pretty excited to go back into the ring with these new faces. Next, the Madden 23's new features are crazy. Madden fans from around the world have been starved for news in the latest iteration of EA's football video game, and they're finally getting it. What's more, some lucky players are going to get the chance to play it before everyone else. The first trailer for the game is set to release in June, and everyone's expecting a beta to be out not long after. You won't have to wait that long to learn about the new features though, because people have already seen the game running. After footage of Madden 23 was leaked across the internet, fans got a look at some crazy new features that definitely make it look like 2K is shaking up the formula this time around. We've got options to slow down the games to make the play-by-play go smoother by whatever amount you want. There's a whole new passing system that's built around the unique skills of each player on the pitch, and which allows for full control over throws. And if that wasn't enough, the devs have added a new Hit Everything feature that completely changes how the game handles tackling and animations. Those are some pretty extensive updates, and we can't wait to see what else is in store. And finally, a new UFC game is in the works. Fans of EA's UFC games have been waiting for a new release in the series ever since UFC 4 was released all the way back in 2020. Thankfully, it looks like EA isn't abandoning the series, and that gives players a whole lot to be grateful for. The next release in the Ultimate Fighting Championship video game series is called, you guessed it, UFC 5, and it's currently in development for 2023. According to reports from across the industry, including a couple of leaked emails from EA officials, the development team behind the UFC games, EA Vancouver, has stopped working on a new Fight Night game and are now focusing on UFC 5. Though we don't know what platforms it's going to be on, rumor has it that it'll only release on the latest generation of consoles. It's definitely shaping up to be the whole next experience. That's a wrap for this video. See you in the next one.